So my name is Luke McConnell. I'm a commercial account executive here with Nicol Insurance. With the commercial team, I get to work all over Ontario, but I mainly focus on southwestern Ontario. So anywhere from Owen Sound to Windsor to Hamilton and everywhere in between. I work with businesses of all sizes, mainly in the transportation, construction, trucking, whatnot. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do. I just help people, uh, find the best insurance for their business and make sure that they're have the right coverage, and that if there ever is a problem, I'm there to help.
Perfect. How long have you been with Nicol Insurance?
I started with Nicol in February of 2022, so just this past year. However, I started kind of beginning the journey into insurance in November of 2021. So it's coming up on a year now.
Have you been enjoying your time so far?
It's been fantastic. Everybody that I work with here is great. Working with different customers, different clients, being able to get out and do face-to-face things in the community, being able to sit down and actually have face-to-face meetings with people is fantastic. Having gone through COVID, everything was online, obviously, and having all those Zoom meetings and Google Meet meetings, it's not my personality. So being able to get out and actually see where people work, see what they do, it's a fantastic experience. So I've split my time. Half of my life I've lived in Owen Sound. Half of my life I've lived in Windsor. So there's good things and bad things about both places. But for the most part, like I love being up in Owen Sound because the nature, the outdoors. There's tons of activities, all kinds of outdoor sports to participate in. With Windsor, it's great. We're right on the border. We're able to catch Lions game, Wings game, Pistons, Tigers. You're 15 minutes away from all kinds of things like that. Really close to an airport. Also, with being in Windsor, there's all kinds of wineries and all kinds of culture down in that area. The restaurants are fantastic. The biggest thing I like about whatever community I'm in is being able to go out and check all the different cafes and different local restaurants. You can learn a lot about the people and the culture and the history of where you're working in by taking a look at the restaurants and cafes that are available and talking to people that actually live there. So the best thing about what I do and where I live is the fact that I get to kind of experience everything in southwestern Ontario and be able to check out different points, different cultures, different people by just checking out restaurants and whatnot. With regards to my certifications and training, I mean, most of us all have Rebo, so that's the main focus. With me, I do have my teacher's degree, so I have taught before, I've done a lot of coaching. I've owned restaurants and whatnot, so whether it sets me apart or not, I'm not really sure, but my past experience, owning, operating businesses, gives me the ability to kind of be more empathetic towards the customers that we're working with, the clients that we're working with. So I know what it's like to sit on the other side of the table and be talking about insurance with somebody from the business owner standpoint. Does that set me apart? I don't know, but is a certification? No, not really, but it kind of gives me a little bit more experience that way. I've been very lucky in the places that I've worked in. I worked for a few really great companies over the past 20 years in my business experience. So I mean the culture's been great in most places. What really sets Nicol apart is the camaraderie we have with our people. Everybody in here is friends. We're friends outside of work. We're friends inside of work. And then the service that we provide to the customers. When you call, the biggest difference I would say from us and anywhere else is that when you call, you actually get to talk to somebody. Somebody's on the other line that's actually going to be able to help you point you in the right direction. The work culture, we do way more events here as a team than I've done in most of the places that I've gone to, which is also fantastic. Being able to see people outside of work and talk about things outside of work is also a lot of fun. But yeah, it's a very relaxed atmosphere. There's a lot of trust that Tim and Adam put in all of us to do our work and kind of get the job done. But we're also very mindful of a good work-life balance, which sometimes doesn't exist in a lot of places. which I really, really enjoy here. Is, if there's something personal that comes up that needs to be taken care of, everyone's very supportive to make sure you get that done. I love traveling. I love being out on the road. I love seeing different places and seeing, different people, different businesses. So being able to get out and actually meet people face to face is great. But what I really love is having people tell me about what they do, tell me about their business. Because a lot of times the people that I'm dealing with are third and fourth generation companies that have been in their family for years and years and years. So being able to have somebody talk about what they're so proud of and what their family has built over the past 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years is a great part of my job, because it really helps me understand where they came from and who they are as people. And then it helps me kind of understand the business so that I know that I can get the right coverage put in place. You're not a number in a queue. Like, you're a person. You're a person with your own background, your own history. So when you call, you're talking to another person, and we can actually help you out. Quite often, all the time, everybody that I work with has my personal cell phone number. They can get a hold of me at any given time. That the biggest thing that I think sets us apart from other companies is the fact that we understand both sides of the board. We understand what it's like to be a business owner, and we understand what it's like to be an insurance broker. So being able to provide the right solutions at the right time, and we're very empathetic to what's going on. If something happens, we understand that a lot of times the people that we're speaking with, probably just went through the worst experience of their life. So we want to make sure that we're very empathetic to their needs, while also providing the right advice and the right guidance to the problems that they have. I mean, I know we can't really go in too deep into specifics and whatnot, but I guess the biggest thing that I found is just being able to dig into businesses and their policies and what they're currently covered for, and based on what they're actually doing. So, being able to dig in and actually see, okay, well, what was your revenues last year? Well, if your revenues were reported at $100,000 to your insurance broker, but they're actually $1 million a year, there's a discrepancy there, and we want to understand why. Or if you're it says on your insurance that you're doing excavating, but you're actually doing a repair business, we want to make sure that what you're doing lines up with what's actually in your policy. So based on my experience, I've been able to dig in and kind of find a lot of these gaps that exist with my customers, and be able to get them the right coverage, and just so that I can sleep at night and they can sleep at night knowing that they're properly covered. A good insurance policy is one that covers you for what you actually do. A lot of times people are hesitant to talk about what actually goes on for fear of having to pay more money. Well, I think at the end of the day, you need to be covered for what you're actually doing. So a good policy needs to reflect every aspect of what you're doing, who you're doing it with. I don't really think there's really good or bad. To me, it's all about good or bad brokers. How well does somebody dig in? How well does your broker actually dig in to understand what your business does? A lot of times, the difference between getting covered and not covered is the little details. And if you don't dig in to find out the little details about what somebody does as a broker, we have to make sure that we're fighting for our client to get them coverage. And if we don't understand everything there is to know about their business, it's harder for us to do that job, and we might miss something or might not be able to report something to an underwriter, which means the difference between getting covered and not covered. So I would say the biggest difference between good or bad policy is how well your broker actually understands you and your business. A bad insurance policy that is one that, for example, was set up 10 years ago and hasn't been updated since. A lot's happened, a lot's changed. A bad insurance policy has a lot to do with a bad broker. Somebody who comes in and wants to sell you on price and doesn't sell you on the proper coverage. price shouldn't be the motivator. It should be getting you the right coverage, regardless of what the price is. It's not always easy to say that to people, but a bad policy is one that is set up for things you don't do to get you the price point that you want to be in, which means that you've bought a car without the wheels. It's not something you can use properly because you've misrepresented what you're doing to the insurance company, and you put yourself at risk of not being covered for what actually happens. So a bad policy is one that you're not going to be able to use when you really need it. The most rewarding part of the job, I think, is being able to find the little gaps, find the problems in each policy that you're working with, and be able to A, get your client the right coverage, and B, save them a little bit of money at the end of the day if you can. But just making sure that if I've done my job properly, you're covered properly, then to me, just making sure that is in place so that the business that you've worked so hard to build over the past years of your life is fully protected. To me, that's the most rewarding job, knowing that I've done my job properly and you have the proper coverage in place. This too shall pass. You think everything's going great, you start to ease up a little bit, this too shall pass. Things aren't going so well, like you're having a rough day, things aren't happening the way you want it to, this too shall pass. Just basically, means just keep working hard, keep doing the little things right every single day. It's the process. It's not always with insurance. It's not always an instant results business. So, you go a few days, you don't get results you want it to, this too shall pass. Then again, you get a few days in a row where you get results every single day, this too shall pass. So it's just kind of a reminder to keep working hard and keep doing the little things, keep doing the right things every single day. How would I describe Nicol Insurance? Nicol Insurance is a third generation family-run operation that cares about getting it done right. We're not here to sell you on price. We're not here to promise that we're going to get you the cheapest price no matter what. We're here to guarantee you that we're going to get you the right coverage, and we're actually going to care about what you do. I think that being a third generation family run operation is what really sets us apart, because we have people here that have years and years of experience. But we also have people who are learning and getting better and growing, and the environment that is created here really nurtures that growth. So if I was to really kind of chalk it down, I just say is our family taking care of your family, essentially what it boils down to. If I was to give any tips to somebody who's shopping for insurance, I would say look for somebody who takes the extra time to come out and meet you face to face, and is actually engaged enough to ask you a bunch of questions other than what would you like to pay for insurance. In order to get the proper coverage, you have to do some serious digging into understanding what people do. So I would definitely recommend that you work with somebody who knows about what you do and has taken the time to do a little bit more research on top of not just you and your company, but a little bit about the industry that you're working in. So somebody who asks a lot of questions, who's curious, who's always engaged in what you're saying, and comes to the table with more than with more information than what you even thought you had. So that extra little bit goes a long way.